A girl who made fun of me in high school just got shot down on the X Factor. What stories of karma do you have? My ex lied through his teeth to get custody of my kids and had an astronomical amount of child support taken out of my check for years. I had no choice but to suck it up, even though I ended up living with friends who supported me so I wouldn't starve and be homeless. While my ex and his girlfriend took vacations and bought electronics and camping equipment and an RV with a child support. Fast forward to when my youngest turned 18 and the child support stopped. I slowly built myself back up, got 2 promotions at work, met an awesome guy, remarried, etc. Today, I have a great life, and my ex and his wife are jobless and homeless, and living in a tent in a relative's backyard. Karma certainly does come around, doesn't it? Child support really needs to be reformed so it can be monitored. Child support is for children. In high school, one of the guys who used to pick on me for being a nerd was walking past me and decided to throw a hard punch at my gut. I didn't see him coming, but at the instant he tried to punch me, I turned the other way to talk to my other nerdy friend. His fist ended up hitting my backpack, right on the TI-84 calculator that was in the front pocket. I heard a string of obscenities, causing him to get stopped by a teacher and temporarily preventing any other damage to me or my nerdy accessories. When I was in 8th grade, I mocked my competitor when she fell down during skating rehearsals. I fell down in finals the next day. Upvote for honesty on internet. My father has told me stories of how when he went to primary school, he studied with a kid who had a glass eye. There was a jerk in the class who would always make fun of that kid, always picking on him and insulting him for having a glass eye. Then one day the jerk is riding his bicycle home and falls off a curb or something, which sends him straight to the ground. And lucky for him, there was a nice big stick of some sort on the ground right where his eye was. It penetrated his eye, and he had to end up getting a glass eye. An eye for an eye. At my university a while back, there was a girl who forged 15 AP credits towards her degree when she first enrolled. At the time she was dating a rather nice fellow. She was a total B who cheated all the time and most people could see that she was just taking advantage of him. After they graduated, he wised up and broke up with her. Apparently a couple days later she comes into his retail job and makes a big scene, yelling, screaming, spitting, etc. and almost gets him fired by the manager. Turns out she had told him about the forged 15 credits. He gave a call to the academic integrity office at the university and asked them to investigate. She got her bachelor's degree revoked and was permanently expelled, meaning she couldn't go back and finish the 15 credits or transfer the credits to another university. He basically hit the reset switch on her education. Academic dishonesty puts you on the shit list for most other universities as well. Nothing anywhere nearly as awesome as this happened to me. My moment of karma was when I saw the cheerleader who picked on me in high school for being fat had become a fat, miserable B with a horde of screaming spoiled brats. It was magic. Seeing people who were mean to you in school get fat in adulthood when you were the fat kid in school is the best thing. My mom has polio. She has a leg brace and walks with a limp. In 5th grade there was a kid on my bus who would smack the back of my head and call me names. He harassed and assaulted everyone. He also had 3 brothers on the bus that would join in. They were overall white trash. They came from a crappy household and had been arrested multiple times as early as 5th grade. Anyway, I'd ignore it because I was dumb and I didn't give a crap. That was a bad idea because it always escalated. Well, one day I turn around to yell at him and he says at least my mama can walk. I decked him. I beat on him till the bus driver pulled me off him. I got kicked off the bus and expelled because no one believed my story and I came off as the bad guy. Well, present day I'm a firefighter, have a bachelor's degree in computer engineering and an overall great life. Last month I got paged to a trailer fire and we couldn't save the structure. I couldn't help but grin when I learned that it was his trailer. I'm an awful person. Probably will get buried but it feels nice to tell someone. Please tell me he realized it was you. That would be the perfect ending. Psycho B who bullied me mercilessly in elementary and middle school. She would run up at recess, punch me in the back of the head, then run away, among other things. Became so resoundingly hated in high school that she ended up transferring. I heard they hated her at the new school, too. If you're reading this, Jenna, frick you. You're making me feel bad because I really should be studying. Group of guys in high school like to tease me about my non-existent promiscuity, looks, height, clothes and on and on and on. One in particular would go beyond all the others, leaving me in tears as I exited the bus and walked home on a daily basis. I graduate early, move on. I crave Subway one day and who should I see working the counter butthole? I stroll in, impeccably dressed in my business professional pencil skirt button up. Eyes on me since I'm 6'2" in heels and confident in my skin. Butthole will not look at me. As he swallows his pride to ask me if it will be 6 inch or foot long, he's staring at the counter, the floor, the cheese, anywhere but my gloating face. That was the most glorious sandwich I have ever had. It tasted like karma, and it was delicious. Q. What have all the bullies from my high school become as the years went by? A. Boring. B. Fat. C. In jail. D. Pregnant. E. All of the above. The girl who made my life a living nightmare and turned all my friends against me. 13 and friendless is not something I would wish on anyone. Moved to a different city to be with a boy. I don't think she expected him to dump her after a few weeks. Now she is friendless and alone. It's kind of poetic actually. 725. 3. There was the kid who made fun of me my entire growing up years from elementary till sophomore year in high school. He ended up having to drop out because he got his girlfriend pregnant and had to pay for the baby. Dude in high school who called me a W all the time and once made me cry because I wouldn't frick him is still single and living with his parents. I have an apartment and the sweetest boyfriend in the world. I seriously could not be in a better place in my life right now unless I got a scholarship for school, which is actually in the realm of possibility now that I've been out of my parents' house for more than a year and now count as dirt poor. So, frick you Cody. Frick you. His friend who was with him at the time that he made me cry actually contacted me recently and gave me a really nice apology for his actions. He had given me a little apology the day after it happened, but it never felt really sincere to me. I wasn't even mad at him anymore, but it was still nice to hear him say he was still sorry after all this time. When I was in high school, this bitchy girl used to smoke cigarettes in the bathroom every freaking day. And every day I would go into the bathroom and she would be in there smoking cigarettes like there isn't a perfectly good parking lot behind the school to sneak out and smoke in, or literally anywhere to go that isn't inside the bathroom. So one day I go into the bathroom during lunch and this dumb girl is standing on the freaking toilet seat smoking a cigarette like it's all fine and dandy. So the teachers catch on because they're not absolutely retarded and everyone has lunch at the same time. And they smell the smoke because it's in Cedar High School and cigarettes smell like the devil's butthole. And they come into the bathroom. So it's me and her. And she's clearly smoking the cigarette and I'm clearly taking a pee, but she drops it and flushes her toilet first and strolls out past the teacher and goes, "I think someone is smoking a cigarette in there." So of course I get in trouble and blah blah. High school, she's a B-okay. So then months and months go by and she graduates, drops out of high school, and Facebook tells me she gets pregnant. 9 more months go by, and I am not a creep, but if there is one thing Facebook is good for, it's stalking all of the trashy girls in high school that have babies. So don't get me wrong, because I really am not a fan of children in general, but hot dang if that isn't the ugliest baby I've ever seen. Seriously, it looks like 2 chunks of ham glued together. Sorry, I am drunk. 2 chunks of ham glued together. Hilarious. I would have to say this dumb chick cheating on me, then dating the kid she cheated on me with. Then I got a call about 8 months later where she was crying and telling me he cheated on her in Cancun on a vacation. Unfortunately, I am a nice person and was nothing but consoling in the conversation, even though I wanted to rip my shirt off and run around in the sprinkler singing and laughing my head off. You definitely should have done that, preferably while she was forced to watch via some sort of live streaming video. When I was 16, I got my first job. It was scanning crap through at a supermarket. Well, when I started there was an overwhelming amount of stuff to remember and I was extremely nervous these first couple of weeks. To combat this though, the supermarket I worked for gave me a trainee badge that I would wear to make people aware of this and that I might make a few mistakes, etc. Well, about 2 or 3 days in, I get this customer and I scan something through at a wrong price. Should have been reduced. She notices and calls me out on it. Okay, that's fine. I apologize and change it. Instead of leaving it, she just starts going off on one, calling me an idiot, and at one stage calls me a freaking imbecile and that I shouldn't be doing an adult's job, etc. This was all in front of a queue of about 5 or 6 other customers. Really knocked my confidence and made me feel really crappy, especially being so new on the job. Fast forward about 3 months and she comes in again to do her shopping, and she has gained a frick ton of weight and is pushing herself round in a skanky old wheelchair, struggling with her basket of stuff awkwardly balanced on the armrest of the wheelchair. I've seen her 6 or so times after the incident, and every time since she's been in the same old wheelchair. I don't wish bad health on anyone, but this BI didn't give a frick. This one is actually kind of fricked up, but my ex-boyfriend cheated on me and it turns out the girl was 17. Now he's having some legal issues. Good. Girl who was a giant B to me in high school got in a car accident and nearly broke her neck because she was texting and driving. While I don't wish harm to anyone, that knowledge gets a solid "ha, deserved it" reaction from me. There is no way to say this without it sounding narcissistic and bitter, but I worked at a job that basically broke my soul, but in which I was really at the top of the class. Things went tee up, I made some mistakes, they decided to make me a scapegoat for bigger problems and crap canned me. About a year later, while happily ensconced in a new and better job, I got an email from a former co-worker asking for some help on a problem I had solved, and left them with documentation of a solution. Because they didn't understand a word of it or how to fix their problem, I responded with my consulting contract and rates and CC'd my old boss, indicating how happy I was that they were finally recognizing my superiority and were willing to pay my, now double, rates. A girl I work with was harassed in high school by this girl who at one point was thin and attractive. She is now obese and has 3 children and an obese husband at 25. I'm sure it's satisfying. Some drunk chick that attacked me our freshman year and called the cops when I defended myself gained at least 5,100 pounds because she doesn't understand moderation. My uncle thought he could get away with killing my dad and blaming it on me, but eventually I recovered and fought to bring harmony back to Pride Rock. Thought it was going to be Hamlet, then suddenly Lions. A student at the high school I work in called me a stupid freaking idiot when I couldn't fix his computer immediately. Coincidentally, I found out the next day that student can't read. That's kinda sad actually. Not cool for the student to say that, but imagine what they think of themselves deep down if that's what's at the surface when they perceive someone else to be deficient. This is not to say you were actually deficient. This was just their perception of you. Bro, Simon Cowell fancied the heck out of her. It sounded to me like she had 2 main issues. 1. No vocal training, or very bad vocal training. 2. No real sense of music. 1. Could be fixed. I'm not so sure about. 2. I think she had potential, but the caliber of vocals in these competitions is so high that you really need to be there already. I feel like Simon knew everyone else would say no, and just wanted to get in her pants afterwards. Bit of instant karma. I once got stabbed during a mugging. Guy took my wallet, stabbed me, then ran away. But as soon as he reached the road, car came around the corner and hit him. I had to really focus on not laughing my butt off. Guy who made fun of me and did a lot to ruin every single day of my middle school and most of high school died from a head injury he sustained while drinking. Frick you, I'm still alive, you're dead, mother. I will never regret feeling this way, ever. Well, dang. Honestly, I think she is talented and perfectly capable of achieving fame. It just felt good for a second to see her be portrayed on television as a jerk, which was my experience of her. In high school I wasn't terribly made fun of, or incredibly popular. I just floated along doing my own thing, but had that one group of kids that was always so rude to me. Well, now that we're a few years out of school, I am checking up on some people I went to school with. That group? Most of the girls now are single mothers. Most of the guys, if not deadbeat dads, strung out on drugs, and a couple of them died in drunk driving accidents. Not saying any of them deserve to die for being bullies, but karma kicked their asses. What's your name? Lexa Berman. Lexa Suburban. What do you do? Well, currently I'm just trying to make it. As a dancer, as a singer, performing. I'm struggling, yes, but it's me dream. Right at the end, you know what we need? We need someone with great looks and talent. How about just talent? How about looks have nothing to do with it? Because they're looking for a pop star, and they were being honest about what they look for in a pop star. Not saying it's right or wrong, but it's true. Well, my karma story is a little dark. One of the neighborhood bullies was my arch enemy. I was the only one who would stand up to him, but he would always have his cousin jump in if he started to lose. Everybody else in the neighborhood was too afraid to get on his bad side when I would start to win, and they would double team. I remember one fight in particular where I gained the upper hand and his cousin kicked me in the face while I was sitting on the bully's chest, pounding his face. I came out of it with a busted blood vessel in my eye. Well, long story short, I looked this guy up and he was shot and killed with no leads. Treat people like crap and you will get what's coming to you. Whoa, just did a good search on his cousin. Apparently, earlier this year, he murdered his wife. Such a fine future this family had. I fricked the girl who used to bully me. Then she got attached and clingy, so I avoided her until she went and got pregnant to some drug dealer. Feels good, man. JPEG. Got bullied. DM. HS. Bro, I wish I could watch someone I didn't like in high school get shot down like that. That was awesome. I loved Britney's face the whole time. LOL, that girl thinks she can actually sing though. A kid used to really bully me. Don't wanna go into detail. 7 years later his friends caught him stealing from them and went from extremely popular to being voted the most likely to end up in jail in our college yearbook and having no friends. I'm happier than ever. I was good friends with a girl all through high school, but she always had this thing where she would choose one person as her best friend and devoted all her time and attention to them. I was constantly shunned, until of course, her and the other person would fight or be separated for some reason, and then I would be pulled in as a replacement, only to be pushed out again shortly after. After high school, I finally said enough is enough. She's still left jumping from friend to friend, leaving a trail of burned bridges behind her, working a crappy job in a crappy town. I've moved away and am making an effort to make something of myself. I've had the same experience. I haven't moved away yet, but I am in college and she's getting kicked out her house and living on random people's couches. I know for a fact that the girl who bullied me most harshly in middle high school appears to be successful. She's married to a super hot French dude, and I'm sure that her clueless butt thinks that makes her sophisticated by association, and the way that those clueless American women think that the word imported makes something more classy than it would be without the label. I guess it bothers me a little bit that she's so successful, but I've seen her interacting with people on Facebook and she's just as much of a raging, vicious bee as she used to be. Something about that gives me some pleasure. Not only that she's still a shithead, because of course, as an adult, it's much harder to get away with that, but that she's actually dumb and immature enough to never grow out of that bully phase. It's one thing to be a crappy person as a teenager. Nobody really gets it at that point. But to still be acting that way as an adult? What a miserable person you must be. Yeah, alright, she's clearly a complete and utter bee, but you'd definitely tap that, wouldn't you? I mean, dat butt. I can't wait to see her in P one day. I don't think the OP needed her to fail on TV for karma. She sounds like a really shallow bee. That's already failure. My best friend all through 7th grade suddenly turned on me, edit, in 8th grade, because of some bee who just moved there named Roslyn. They loved to loudly make fun of me at every opportunity. We had mutual friends, so I had to deal with her bulls all year until we got to high school. Ex-friend disappeared right after 9th grade. Roslyn was still around, but it was a big enough school that I could avoid her. Senior year, I get my first job as a Subway sandwich artist. Frick yes. 3 days in, I'm pulled aside and very politely fired without being given any reason at all. Some time later, I find out through friends still working there that Roslyn had spread rumors and had everyone convinced, even some of them, that I was giving out loads of free food to my massive groups of friends who came in. Thing is, all of one person visited me all 3 days, and he got nothing for free. That was 10 years ago. Roslyn is still working there, while I'm quite literally living my dream. Frick you, Roslyn. Dude, shoots, loads of people have made fun of me in my life. 99% of them, I don't care what happens to them. You'll be happier if you have the same attitude. Learning to not give a frick is the best, as long as you don't maliciously go out after people. So I am serving in the British Army and had to share a room with 4 other lads during training. One of these guys was a useless dickhead who used to annoy the crap out of me all the time. I ended up moving rooms to get away from him. Anyway, last I heard he's been beaten up regularly since joining his regiment and also got duct taped to a wall. It must be nice. In high school I didn't get bullied that much. I had a few run-ins with people teasing me periodically. Those who were the most consistent went to better colleges than I did, have had better relationships than I've had, done more of those sort of life desires than I've done, like traveling, and are working jobs that pay them a decent wage. That is, at least, what I see on Facebook. I choose to believe they're a bunch of liars and tout-seek. I know a few girls like your friend in the video. One of them got into P a few years after graduating, and in that clip, if her behavior isn't exaggerated, she gives me the distinct impression of sociopathy. That girl shows off everything that is wrong about Boca Raton and South Florida in general, also why every day I have the desire to stab when I go outside. Women down here are raised by money and taught that looks and love can be bought. They are also raised to just sell their body rather than sell their personality, which tends to be lacking due to neglect. I'm happy to see this girl fail. Now she can just find a rich doctor and make his life miserable rather than the whole world. Girl who picked on me as a kid for, amongst other things, not buying the right brands, now looks like the result of a demolition derby. Guy that broke my heart and then made fun of me all of sophomore and junior year ended up in the hospital. To elaborate, he played lacrosse, and one day he decided it was okay to not wear his cup to practice. Well, someone makes a bad pass and that ball hit this guy so hard in dong he went down crying. On top of that, his man junk started bleeding and he was wearing white shorts. He ended up having tampons thrown at him by his teammates the next day. That crap was amazing. Calm as a bee. However, he did apologize to me in January for being a crappy person. Fapt bank is full. This girl needs to do pee immediately. She's one heck of a butterface. Bag over that face. And baby, she's got it. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.